So this is the Acer Swift 3X, and this is one of Intel's first laptops that contains their dedicated GPU. This is something they haven't done in 20 years. You might have heard of their desktop version, the DG1, which has been leaked and rumored. Well, this is the one that's going into laptops. Now, if you buy an 11th gen Tiger Lake Intel laptop, it usually comes with an Iris Xe integrated GPU. This is a very good integrated GPU, one of the better ones out there that gives you pretty good performance. But going forward, some of these laptops will contain another sticker, yes, more stickers, that says Iris Xe Max. And if you see Max on the laptop, that means there's Intel's dedicated GPU inside of here. Now this GPU is not much faster than the Xe chip that's already integrated in there, but it does have higher boost clock speeds, which does give better performance. The idea behind this is to have that beefy integrated GPU work in tandem with the dedicated GPU. So in certain applications, when they're working together, you'll experience better performance. Now the thing is, a lot of these applications are not taking advantage of both GPUs yet, but the ones that are, there is a bit of a performance boost. For example, if I run Adobe Photoshop with just the integrated GPU, I get some pretty good performance. But as soon as I incorporate both GPUs at the same time, then the performance increase is substantial. But when it comes to gaming, it's a bit different. Some applications utilize it properly, others don't. In some games, I didn't see a difference in terms of frames per second, but others, there was about a 10 frame per second increase. Now this is not a gaming laptop, nor should you go out and buy the Acer Swift 3X to game on, but you can play games at 1080p if you lower the settings down to medium. Now the one area that I truly saw a beefy performance uptake is transcoding, and that's what Intel's truly aiming this dedicated GPU towards. Creators who do a lot of encoding and transcoding and rendering. When the integrated and dedicated are working together, it's supposed to speed up things. And I saw that when I was using Handbrake. Like, I would transcode a file or a workload of files, and without the Iris Xe Max, it would take over 10 minutes. When I turned on the Iris Xe Max, it worked in tandem with the integrated GPU, and I was able to get that time frame down to 8 minutes. But here's the thing, this is a $1,200 laptop, and I understand why they're charging more, because they want to keep it in line with other laptops that are using these dedicated GPUs. But the build quality and the materials they're using are just not in line with the competition. Like, this keyboard is very comfortable to type on. It has a nice tactile feel, good click, good travel distance, but the deck itself is a bit squishy. The touchpad, it's just not accurate, even though it's using Windows precision drivers. The display, it's 1080p. And look, it's not a bad display, it's just there's a lot better displays at this price point. It doesn't come anywhere near the screen brightness or color accuracy of a MacBook Air, which costs the exact same price. The webcam is 720p and it doesn't look that great. And with a lot of people working from home today, having a good webcam on their laptops is very important. The good thing though is you do get tons of ports. Like on the left-hand side, you have an HDMI port, you have a USB port, a Thunderbolt 4 port, and then on the right-hand side, you have another USB port and an audio jack. Now, one area that I really loved about this Iris Xe chip, and this goes for QuickSync in general, is streaming. Like, I took my beefy computer with an RTX, not an RTX, sorry, a RX 6800, and I use this as the second PC to stream my games. And this thing handled it like a champ. It was pushing 1080p at 60 frames per second using OBS and not dropping one frame. And a lot of people, or at least professional streamers, usually use a second PC, but inside of it is an NVIDIA RTX card to use the NVENC encoder. You don't need to do that anymore. These Tiger Lake laptops with their Iris Xe chips are amazing for actual streaming, and I was just blown away. Now, heat management and everything is great. Like, it doesn't get super hot. It's a bit conservative, but the performance is good. Fan noise, very loud. When this thing is under full load and performance mode is enabled, you're looking at 50 decibels, which is in line with a gaming laptop. Throw it down to balance, it still gets loud at 45. The only way to get it down to 40 is if you drop it in quiet mode. So before I wrap this up, let's just take a quick look at the internals. And as you can see right here, you have the CPU, an integrated GPU, and the dedicated GPU. These are being hooked up to 2 copper heat pipes and 1 fan. You have a 57 watt-hour battery. I was only able to squeeze about 5 hours of battery life before needing to charge. Acer advertises 17. I have a feeling there's something wrong with the drivers. It needs to be updated, but this should last a lot longer. You have 1 terabyte NVMe SSD, and then you have a blank slot on the right if you want to expand it down the road. So when it comes to actual raw performance, and you're comparing the Iris Xe versus the Iris Xe Max, you're not going to see that much of a performance increase. It's there, but it's very modest. The way it matters is when Intel's Deep Link technology is being utilized. This is basically power sharing, okay? So let's say you're doing something in Photoshop and it's graphically accelerating the workload. It's going to take power away from the CPU and provide more power to the integrated and dedicated GPU so that they can work at the same time to accelerate that workload. The same holds true when you're switching power back to the CPU. Let's say you're compiling code, you're not using the GPU, so why should it get any power? That power will be transferred to the CPU to increase performance. That's the benefit of this type of technology Intel's implementing in their laptops. We've seen this with NVIDIA's graphics cards as well. But the problem is that applications need to utilize it. So some of those games I showed you, you never saw an advantage because it wasn't using Deep Link. Some of the applications like Premiere Pro, it's still not implemented, so the performance was not different. But when it comes to things like transcoding and live streaming or anything that can utilize Intel's QuickSync, then you'll see a performance increase. In short, if you think you're going to get a massive upgrade in performance for the standard stuff you do every day, and you were hoping this would be a viable gaming ultrabook, that's not going to happen. Like, you're not going to see that much of a difference. You need to really know exactly what you're doing in order to utilize Intel's new dedicated GPU. And for $1,200, you probably should hold out until the applications that you use are taking advantage of this technology. Now, if you have any more questions about the Acer Swift 3X or about Iris Xe Max, let me know in the comment section down below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video.